We moved to Aston in 2011 because it was a nice neighborhood and close by media, but it didn't have the same housing prices as it does there. I've been a paralegal for 12 years. Most of that time I spent doing workers' compensation claimant work, so helping people with their everyday lives and their claims on a daily basis. I like that work because it's emotionally rewarding. It's nice to be able to help people. I found out about the Mariner East pipelines via Facebook one day. I was on one of the local pages and saw some posts from Middletown Coalition about it. And so I joined the group, started to pay more attention to what was going on. Just on Facebook as everybody else is. Once I saw a map from Middletown Coalition, I realized it was coming through Aston. And I found that to be really concerning because it's only half a mile from my house. The major thing that I found concerning was the safety of my son. Being in such close proximity to a pipeline of that nature that has odorless, colorless, high-pressured contents in it was really concerning. I mean, even if there's not an immediate ignition scenario, I mean, that's got an asphyxiation risk. We travel across Dut Mill Road every day. You live in your community, but it took a while, I think, for me to fully understand the gravity of the situation. But once I was aware of it, I went to a Middletown meeting, one of the coalition meetings. It's been really difficult being the only person, it felt like, for a long time in Aston that either knew or was concerned at all. I felt like I was the only voice in Aston for a long time. Nobody here was really talking about it at all. I made several inquiries for information about the pipeline from probably every commissioner in the township. There were 7. Nobody responded to the questions that I had. I wanted to know when there had been public comment before the township sold the easement to Sunoco. I wanted to know how much money they received. I wanted to know what they did with that money. I also wanted to know if they received any safety information from Sunoco, if they had had any idea what was even in the pipeline they sold an easement for. After several weeks of no replies, I filed a right to know request. A right to know request is a Pennsylvania equivalent of the Federal Freedom of Information Act. You can file a request for certain documents with local municipalities, with state government entities, things like that. In my right to know request, I asked for any and all documents concerning the sale of the easement, including written correspondence concerning negotiations. I asked for information about how much money we received, what the township did with the money that they received, and also for any safety-related information that they received from Sunoco. I filed that request on February 13th, 2017. I received a timely response within 5 business days requesting a 30-day extension that cited legal review as the cause, and they're within their rights to do that. After I received the request for the extension, I never heard from them again. They let their 30 days expire, and when that happens, your request is considered denied. At which point I filed an appeal to the State Office of Open Records, who issued me a final determination on May 1st, granting my request for the records. I have not gotten my information. The township ignored the basically a judicial order from the state to turn over the records. The only recourse at that point is to file a lawsuit in the Court of Common Pleas to enforce the final determination. It's basically like filing for contempt. I definitely intend to file. I think the township has ignored my right to know request because there are certain conflicts of interest amongst the elected officials there. One of the commissioners is a Sunoco retiree. Another of the commissioners is the uncle of one of the Sunoco spokesmen. The solicitor for the township works at a firm that's represented Sunoco, and yet she gets to do legal review of residents' right to know requests when they concern a different client of hers. I mean, to me, those are conflicts of interest. My legal experience was useful in the process, but when you get to the point where you have to file in the Court of Common Pleas, that's a little above my pay grade, especially where it concerns municipal law. It's cost prohibitive to the average person, you know. I was fortunate enough to find an organization who's going to represent me. Penn Future. If it wasn't for them, I don't know how I would be able to do it. I don't know that we'll be able to stop it. I'd like to. One of the other things that's important to me as far as Mariner goes, and not necessarily Mariner 2, is the proximity of Mariner 1 to Pennell. Once I became aware of Mariner 2, it naturally led me to find out about Mariner 1, which has already been operational in Aston for 2 years. Mariner 1 runs down Route 452 in Aston, which is a pretty heavily traveled road. And it's also 400 feet from Pennell Elementary School, where my son's supposed to go to kindergarten next year. Mariner 1 has also had 3 leaks in the last year. The school is not ready. The school's not ready at all.